the first thing that I wanted to cover today was all this Beyond the Spider-Verse shenanigans. There's been a lot of talk behind the scenes of the movie being, at least, in some sort of development hell. And I figured let's go ahead and read this. We'll come back. There's been additional context provided, earlier today, just a few hours ago. But this is according to IGN. Spider-Verse producer shuts down rumors that much of Beyond the Spider-Verse has been scrapped. Christopher Miller says it's coming along nicely. One of the producers, and I believe one of the co-writers of the film. Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse series producer Christopher Miller has sworn in to squash rumors suggesting Sony recently scrapped much of its work on Beyond the Spider-Verse. Gossip started following a report posted via Jeff Snyder, the Snyder website. I see what he did there. According to its sources, most of the work made on the project was scrapped for creative reasons, quote unquote, at some point during its development. With progress lost and Disney Marvel seemingly planning to release a live-action Spider-Man 4 in 2026. Which we're going to talk about in just a bit. The film was said to likely not arrive until 2027. It's news that's had audiences concerned that it could be several years before more Spider-Verse comes their way. But now the team behind the movie is saying there's nothing to fear. Miller, who has made a name for himself with projects like the Lego Movie and 22 Jump Street, both great films in my opinion, shut down the latest rumors with a post on X/Twitter. He says quite plainly that nothing has been thrown away when it comes to Beyond the Spider-Verse. Nothing has been scrapped, Miller said. The reels are coming along nicely. His comments on the matter should calm those who have been waiting to see the story wrap up since the latest film Across the Spider-Verse released in June 2023. A movie I really liked. I think a lot of you guys like too. Additionally, the comic book series composer Daniel Pemberton also took to X/Twitter to clear the air, suggesting that there may not be much truth to the information floating around online. Don't really ever want to weigh in on this sort of stuff, Pemberton said, but would you ever believe there could sometimes be stuff on the internet that might not always be particularly accurate? And IGN reached out to Sony for comment, and they have not responded. And they just go into more details about the movie and delays and the SAG-AFTRA strikes. It certainly affected things, obviously. So we'll see when that movie comes out. But, okay, so, I believe Miller. I believe Christopher Miller. I don't think he has misled anyone in the past, for nefarious reasons. And also Phil Lord, Chris Miller. As I said before, I think they're two of the most talented people probably working in the film industry today. Certainly two of the most talented people that Sony has under their belt right now, no question. And I've loved their contributions to film and to television, and certainly to Spider-Man as well. And I mean the last thing I would want is a delay to this. But I mean, if you got to delay it, delay it, just so the employees aren't run ragged and everything, and they can live ordinary lives. Of course. But I think the reason why this story just popped up and why it just, put a lot of people in the panic mode, or made people not even panic mode. That's not the right word or term for it. Concerned. The reason why I think a lot of people were concerned was because Sony is incompetent. Sony is they are a bunch of fuck ups working over there, from Tom Rothman to Amy Pascal to the bloated orc creature wearing a human skin suit, Avi Arad. Just a bunch of fuck ups across the board. Made so many horrific decisions for many years. They are the definition of failing upward, right? In this industry. The fact that they have jobs or the positions that they do is mind-boggling to me. And so to hear like that, it's like, oh, well, of course, that's what's happening. Because, and I've said this before, and I've had a lot of this even confirmed, like my thoughts are like, I kind of just feel this way. I can't base on anything. It just feels like a gut feeling. For the longest time, it's never made any sense to me that you have Sony, who has delivered such films as, and listen, some of these movies have made money, others have certainly not, and they've been box office disasters. But the same company that has made great movies like the Into the Spider-Verse films, like the first one and the second one, and some of these other side projects which are coming out, the third one is coming out, right? Is also the same company that has made Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage and Morbius. We all morbed, Chad. We also morbed when we saw Madam Web. And then we got Kraven the Hunter, Kraven the fucking vegetarian, Kraven the vegan, that's going to be coming out in the next month? Next month? I can't keep track when that movie's coming out. It's either next month or in December. I don't know. But, it's just incredible that there's just such stark contrast in terms of the quality between these projects. And I said for the longest time, and I was vindicated in my thoughts on this, and my gut feeling, that I did not believe Sony knew what they had with that first Into the Spider-Verse movie. And it was just certain things. The fact that it had such a relatively low budget compared to their, other films. Certainly their animated stuff, like $100 million. And for the movie to look as good as it does is like, wow. The fact that it was concentrating on Miles Morales, who was a more recent creation within the Spider-Man mythos and things. The fact that it had like that kind of experimental art style that now is proliferated, wonderfully so, because I love that 2.5D. It looks great. And I actually know one of the animators that worked on that film, and they said, yep, Sony had no idea what they had, and they were pretty much allowed to do whatever they wanted because they were inexpensive. That's what happened. But because Into the Spider-Verse was such a success, critically, most certainly, it won an Oscar, and commercially it did well. It wasn't like a huge, it made money, but it wasn't like, $1 billion movie. That doesn't necessarily have to be. It doesn't need to be. But, it's like, oh, shit, like it was successful, and then people were excited about it. They were enthused about it, and then you got the sequel, which made even more money. It was great. One of my favorite movies of last year. A lot of people's one of their favorite movies, if not their favorite movie of last year. And so, this in a way, like I was happy with it, like a lot of people, happy with the success of these Into the Spider-Verse movies, but at the same time, kind of concerned. It's got a double-edged sword because the more successful they are, the more I feel like Sony is just going to be like strangling it, putting their hands around its windpipe and just choking it and making it terrible. And also coupled with the fact that Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they're not going to be sticking with Sony for long. Their contracts had not been renewed and they're being let go because apparently they have a deal with Universal, right, which they had inked years ago. But again, if I was now, listen, I don't run $1 billion film division, okay, I don't. But if I was Sony, if I was Tom Rothman, if I was a bloated orc goblin creature wearing a skin suit like Avi Arad does every day, I would make it my priority to keep those guys and those under them and those around them and anyone else that has worked on their projects here at our company because they produce such great works. Like, that's what I would do. And I'm sure they're far more expensive than they were a decade ago. Making like 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, of course. But at the same time, it's just like they've produced some of our best films, some of our best projects over the last 10 to 15 years. Like, of course we'd want to keep them. And so it just boggles my mind. So my fear is, and the reason why I think this story caused such a kerfuffle is because with them gone, I feel like what's going to happen with Into the Spider-Verse and all these other films and projects that have this art style and this whole new world, that they're going to end up being just as fucking atrocious, okay, as Venom, as Morbius. They're going to, as Madam Web, they're going to, my fear is they're going to morb Into the Spider-Verse and its sequels and the other projects come out of that. And like, that's, I think, a major concern. That's a huge concern. It's a justifiable concern. And so, yeah, I believe Chris Miller and what he's saying here. It's just like, nope, that the Jeff Snyder of it all, that he's incorrect and that's not what's going on. But at the same time, it's just like, it could have been true. It really could have been. It would have been a major concern. I'm still very excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse. Take as much time as they need to make that movie. Obviously, I don't want the people working on that film to be run ragged and have their lives destroyed. Of course, obviously, take all the time you need. I'm a patient man. Sometimes I'm impatient, but I'm a patient man when it comes to my movies. Just make sure it's good and I enjoy myself. And I feel like we all feel the same way. At least many of us do. But I am very concerned about the future of Spider-Man and certainly Into the Spider-Verse with Sony and with Phil Lord and Chris Miller leaving, because I feel like once they're gone, Sony's going to fucking railroad. They're going to take advantage of that entire universe and make it not feel so special. And I think there's a great risk of it becoming horrible like their live-action Spider-Man-less Spider-Man films. But that's just kind of how I feel. How about you guys? How do you feel about this? Okay, it's like, all right, because I believe that, Chris Miller is speaking the truth. It's like, nope, it's not like the movie's all scrapped or anything like that. But I guess it's just like, do you have the same level of concern that I do with the future of Spider-Verse. And I get just Spider-Man in general. There's something else that we're going to touch on just a bit that was brought up to me yesterday, and a lot of people wanted to talk about that. I feel like we could talk about it with greater detail now. But I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this story, or the risk of all of this exploding in a horrible way with the absence of Phil Lord and Chris Miller down the line. Let me see. Yeah, a Venom anime movie. Now, you joke, Winfox, but that might happen. I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. Let's see what you guys are saying right here. It's going to scroll up a little bit. Don't want to miss anybody. Well, you go hard, poor Avi. I ain't poor. I have no problem being his number one enemy. I have no problem talking shit about that man. He has been an albatross around the neck of Spider-Man and so many other films for decades. You can thank him for Borderlands most recently. You can and he's attached to some big projects. I mean, obviously Uncharted. Look how that turned out, and then he's gonna do that Uncharted sequel, that Naruto movie. He's attached. He's producing that movie. What's the other thing? Metal Gear Solid. It's just like, God damn. Unless someone can wrangle him or kind of just put him to the side, be like, yeah, sure. Put your name on it because we have to have your name on it. But if he, like, any creative involvement, he has a reputation within the film industry for like not giving a shit about the things that he's like adapting or making. He's a toy man. That's where he's from. He's from the toy business. How can we make a toy out of this? Let's put this guy in this colorful suit. Why? Because we can make a toy out of it. That's his whole deal, and that's what I'm concerned about. Oh man, I would make a Black Cat movie because it can make her an. No, I like that. Like I think on paper, like a Black Cat movie sounds cool. Like I wouldn't mind that at all. Do I trust Sony to make it a good one? No, but I'm not against that idea. I love Felicia Hardy. She's a wonderful character. She's a badass. She's hot as hell. She's smart. She's the whole goddamn package. She's everything that you want. So I would love that. I just don't trust Sony to make it. Chris Ayers, thank you for the 10 videos. I'm gonna read your comment in just a second. I'm just scrolling down right now. Let's see. It's insane it's insane they are fucking with the one big thing they've got. Leave Miles. I know. They're gonna. Oh my God, they're gonna exploit that kid. It's gonna be rough. Let's see who else is here. Chris Morb, indeed. Venom anime. I would not be shocked if that happens. Let's go ahead. The animated Spider-Man movies are coming out are more made for the 10-15 age groups. I disagree. I think they're made for all ages. Well, that's what's wonderful about animation. And I feel like more in the West should adopt this way of thinking. Certainly the Western filmmakers, and not even Western filmmakers, although some dismiss animation. The Western film industry, they should look at it the same way that the Eastern film industry looks at it. These companies in Japan and South Korea and all these other East Asian countries. Says the animation it's not just for children. It's a medium to tell all sorts of stories. It can be for children. It can also be for adults. It can also be for everyone. And we've had numerous animated films that have been that way. I mean, just recently, like Inside Out 2, it's like, yes, maybe they're like, yeah, we want kids to like this, sure. But that movie works across the board for multiple demographics, no matter what the age or race or ethnicity or cultural backgrounds, why those films are successful. And I feel like that should be the mindset for animation in general. Make it even better that way. New ideas introduced. Let's see here. Dachigo Isaac Stevenson, good to have you here, good sir. But who is more incompetent between Sony or WB? Ooh, that's a good question. Fumbling that Batman. I cannot believe that they passed on that. That is fucking nuts. That thing looks so goddamn cool. I think people have been making a post comparing. It's like, you passing on an animated Batman Beyond movie for Minecraft? And I'm not dismissing Minecraft. I'm dismissing just the way that movie looks. This thing looks fucking atrocious. It's crazy. I don't get it. Please ruin everything we love. Oh, yeah, to throw Lucasfilm in there, most certainly. Yeah, you're right, Pro. You're right. Because apparently Snyder posts a lot of bullshit. No, I know. Believe me, I know John Snyder by his reputation. Yeah, he is definitely, he's posted some true stuff, but he has posted a lot of bullshit. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all, Mr. Ayers. Funny enough, I posted a story in a Facebook group the other day where he claimed Knives Out 3 had a $200 million budget, and a guy I know who works in the industry told me that he's not a trustworthy source of info. There you go. Fair enough. For the future of the Spider-Man animated films, I have hopes, but the live-action Spider-Man spin-off movies should just be done with after Venom 3. I feel like they will be. I feel like, I mean, who knows? There's always feels like there's something in some form of production. There has to be, right? But they got to do like a reset. That's why I thought, it would make sense to bring in Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I was like, hey, let's get the guys who've been making, or excuse me, they're not the only guys, obviously. Because you have the filmmakers, the actual directors who are making those movies, of course, who definitely deserve a lot of credit. I don't feel like they get a lot of credit, which is sad. Even I'm forgetting their names at the top of my head. But you should bring in the guys that clearly know what they're doing, right? And I feel like Phil Lord and Chris Miller know what they're doing, and the people that they've had making these, all of their live action Spider-Man films have no fucking clue what they're doing, clearly. So I agree with you. It needs to be done. And they need to do something different because they're not going to give. It's not like they're going to give Spider-Man back to Disney. It's never going to happen. All these characters, they're going to keep him forever, right? So they got to do something better than what they're doing right now. It's the only thing that we can hope for at this point. And hopefully the relationship continues with Disney in such a way where Spider-Man can still be shared for all these other Marvel projects. At least that's what I want. I think this might be partly Lord and Miller's fault, too, since they made the production of Across Spider-Verse hell for the animators. Too much might lead into some factors why this is. So maybe that is a major factor. It's out to became the highest grossing film this year. There you go. Watch them make a Black Cat movie, but instead of a spy, she's bitten by a radioactive cat and gains power. I know, just like Catwoman. The cat just barfs in her goddamn open mouth just like it does in Catwoman 2004. What a scene. Seeing that CGI cat, that terrible, even at the time the CGI in that cat was bad, and having to just retch into the open mouth of a near dead Halle Berry. Oh my Lord, what a scene. I'll give Sony this: they haven't canceled nearly finished movies for a tax write-off, so they got. I mean, I'll give that. Sure, sure. That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement to make. That doesn't mean that their movies are good, but it is fair. Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman directed the first one. Give them the credit they deserve. Let's see here. Cross and Beyond are being directed by Kemp Powers, Joaquim Dos Santos, and Justin K. Thomas. And those are the same. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. You mentioned Across. Yeah. Good. They deserve the credit. But again, it's just, I'm just concerned for the future of a lot of Spider-Man content because I like all of you guys. I love Spider-Man, and I want to see good Spider-Man content. And I feel like Sony just doesn't produce a lot of good stuff aside from the animated things. And I don't give them any credit for Tom Holland. They don't deserve a fucking modicum of credit for those movies. Okay, I am more concrete in my opinion that the fact that those movies happened, that it was solely because of John Watts and Kevin Feige and the MCU. They don't deserve any credit for those fucking movies. Those are not Sony movies. Those are Marvel movies. Those are Disney Marvel movies, MCU movies. So, but yeah, we'll see. It's very concerning. But speaking of Spider-Man, bring this up right here. Continuing on, and this was brought up yesterday. We briefly talked about this, but I feel like it's related. It's related. And I want to voice some of my concerns about this, but at the same time, it's interesting. But this is from The Hollywood Reporter, and this was already kind of talked about yesterday. But Spider-Man 4, Destin Daniel Cretton, whose name I will always forget how to say in the future. There we go. Moving him over a little bit. Give him some respect. Apparently in talks to direct Spider-Man 4, although as far as I know, it's that is confirmed, but whatever. We'll say in talks for right now. Destin Daniel Cretton is doing whatever a spider can. Filmmaker behind Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings is in talks to sign on to direct Spider-Man 4. The movie brings an end to speculation of who would spin the web for one of the biggest franchises in Hollywood. My God, these spider puns. Cretton will bring fresh blood to this iteration of Spider-Man, which stars Tom Holland, and is in co-production between two separate studios, Sony and Disney-owned Marvel Studios. It's basically Marvel. And it will make him the fourth director to take on a Spidey solo feature. John Watts directed the previous three Holland starring movies, while Mark Webb helmed the two Amazing Spider-Man films, and starred Andrew Garfield. Okay, and Sam Raimi directed the Tobey Maguire trilogy. We know. The Holland Spider-Man movies grew into a $1 billion franchise, Spider-Man No Way Home, enticing pandemic-weary audiences out of their homes and grossed almost $2 billion. after. I think it made like 1.9 billion. Did very well for itself. Chris McKenna and Eric Summers are back on script duties, while Marvel head Kevin Feige and former Sony head Amy Pascal are producing. Sorry, I gagged because Amy Pascal's name was typed out in front of me. Thursday, Spider-Man 4 is running, not crawling, full steam ahead, and will shoot early next year because they want this in between the two Avengers movies. They want this in between what was formerly the Kane Dynasty is now called Doom War, which will probably give us the proper introduction of Doctor Doom to the MCU, or at least a version of him, played by Robert Downey Jr., and obviously Secret Wars. And they probably want to fast-track this, too. Sony probably certainly does because of their colossal failures recently with movies like Morbius and Madam Web, critical and commercial flops. Although, Venom movies make money. We got to acknowledge that. Although critically, they're flops. And then they go into more details about all that, all the history of that. So, now, in terms of I had to look at his name again. Destin Daniel Cretton. It's not an easy name to remember. The only thing I know of him is being the director of Shang-Chi and Legend of Ten Rings. And I remember watching the film those years ago. It's been so long. Well, I guess we're not going to get another Shang-Chi movie for a very long fucking time at this point, unless they give it to another filmmaker. But I was like, wow, it started off like I thought really strong. Like that first half of that movie was pretty goddamn good. It was, Marvel's, it's their kung fu movie, mixed martial arts. Like, oh, this is great. And then as soon as we go to mystical mumbo jumbo land with, all the dragons, and then you kill off Wenwu, you kill off the Mandarin. It's like, what are you doing? It was like two different films, and like they just clashed together. It didn't work. I like the more grounded nature of the first half of Shang-Chi than the ridiculous over-the-top CGI crap fest that came later on. And so, I think this guy is talented, clearly. But my concern is, and this is also, part of the thing that's been talked about a lot recently, is like for Spider-Man 4, you've had big disagreements apparently between Kevin Feige and Disney, Marvel, and Sony, where Kevin Feige, Disney, Marvel, they want to do a more grounded street-level Spider-Man story, a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, right? And that would make sense after the events of No Way Home, where it was a big multiverse adventure and everything. Peter Parker's alone, right? He's at probably at the lowest point in his life. And, I mean, it's not said that this is what it would be, but I think it would be cool. Like, yeah, have him team up with Daredevil. Have it be him going up against Kingpin, right? I would love to see a live-action Spider-Man fight a live-action Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio, can you imagine? Do have Charlie Cox, who was in the previous Spider-Man movie, a cameo appearance. But Sony wants to do multiverse stuff. And this is like, listen, there's been some success of the multiverse, and there's been a lot of failures. And I feel like a lot of people have fatigue with it, and they want to move on. And I feel like a good step in order to move on is to like, hey, let's do a more grounded Spider-Man movie. But seemingly that's not what's happening. It looks like it's going to be a multiverse movie. It looks like Sony got their way, which I think is very concerning. And I am concerned that this movie is going to end up being just the last half of Shang-Chi, where we go to mystical mumbo jumbo land, where it's just a CGI cacophony. And I don't know what the hell is happening. Something about a dragon, and it's evil, and it wants the souls out, and the Mandarin wants his wife's soul because he thinks it's like, doesn't make any sense. Now, this is the guy that, if we're going to get like, grounded Spider-Man like the first half of Shang-Chi, then I'm like, okay, I'm on board. I'm okay, but I don't know what I'm going to get. So I'm a little concerned about that. But how do you guys feel about this? Are you more like me, where it's like, okay, this could be potentially cool. This is the ground Spider-Man, or are you more concerned we're going to get, timey-wimey mumbo-jumbo? Like, I don't know. Deadpool says Shang-Chi worked best as a kung fu movie in a similar vein of Jack. 100%. Matter of fact, they have the whole sequence. Well, I think it was like the big set piece. Or excuse me, it was the second big set piece in the movie when they're fighting on the bamboo chutes, like the ladders and stuff. Straight out of Rush Hour 2. Straight out of Rush Hour 2, and it looked great. And then the one before that, you had the bus, which, there's some CGI in there, sure. But it looked really good. And so I want more of that. I think that would be awesome. But agreed. That's when it was working. It was like, this is really nice. And then, Oh, let's see here. Never the multiverse, says Pro. I'm not gonna be the same as it's not gonna be the same as the other Spider-Man. I'm very curious to see what this is gonna be. If it's gonna have like that same flavor as the John Watts movies, or it's gonna be a far departure. I just don't know. Never thought in my lifetime that audiences would get tired of multiverse. I know. Well, if you produce some middling stuff, if you drop the ball on some of it, or a lot of it, people are gonna get tired of it. And so yeah, I think people, in terms of like Marvel, Disney, they just want Fantastic Four. They want X-Men. I think because of things like X-Men 97 that whet people's appetites. Like, oh shit, yeah, it made us. I think it made us all remember like, oh fuck, the X-Men are cool. Let's get more X-Men content. So we'll see. He'll be like Shang-Chi, but which one? Just like, maybe it'll start off like really goddamn good, but then by the end of it, it'll be like, what happened? Oh, let's see what people are saying. I don't think that was Fing Fang Foom. That dragon wasn't Fing Fang Foom as far as I know. I think that was something else. I don't know what that dragon's name was. I don't think anyone remembers. I want the next film. This is from excuse me. I want the next film to be a Spider-Man and Daredevil teaming up together and Kingpin as the main villain. Yeah. Also have Fisk hire Spider-Man-centric characters, hunt him down. I would bring back Vulture, Scorpion, and Shocker. And have some new villains. Mr. Negative would be, I think, really cool. That would be awesome. Tombstone and Chameleon. Yeah. I definitely want to ground it, but you can bring back some of those older villains. Yeah, tasked with hunting down Spider-Man. I like the idea of maybe Vulture being like, I'm here to help him. I'm not here to like hurt him since he saved me. I think that'd be kind of nice. But then Scorpion being like, yeah, maybe the physical bad guy. Having Shocker come in there, sure. You guys know I love my Shocker. I love Shocker. Mr. Negative, I think, would be awesome. Really was properly introduced to him in the Spider-Man video game. From a couple years ago, so that'd be cool. Tombstone would be great to see. I've always wanted to see Chameleon in a Spider-Man movie. I think he'd make a really cool villain for Peter Parker to go up against. Yeah, and it could also be maybe a bit of a back door to bring in Miles Morales too and all his characters. So I'd be all for it. Malcolm says Marvel's being watched under. Being watched. I think you mean watch. Marvel's being watched under a microscope by all its fans. They will shoot the hell out of this film if word gets out. It sucks. If it's stinky. Deadpool says, in Destin Daniel Cretton defense, the third act of Shang-Chi was something Marvel. That was mandated? Okay. All right. Okay. If that was like, the powers that be at Marvel Disney, then maybe I won't be so harsh on him. That's fair. I like director, I'll give it a shot. Shang-Chi 2 was 100% timey-wimey mumbo-jumbo. I hope not. Oh, God. Or at least was... Wow, the Kane stuff. Yeah, I wonder if that's because it was also up for Kane and things, and that's why they had to all right, we got to kind of introduce this. So, Chris says, in my opinion, Shang-Chi was the second best post-Endgame movie behind Guardians 3. To me, it was in the middle. It could have been up there for me. It was just that last half, I was like, this isn't working for me. But that first half I thought was very strong. But I totally understand why. I think that first half is pretty good. Win Fox, I just want Spider-Man and Daredevil to team up. Me too. I want that too. I love that relationship in the comics. Shang-Chi should have been left as a Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee type movie. Agreed. 100%. Multiverse also just deflates the stakes of what's going on. It gets hard to care about your characters when you can put different versions of them for some other dimension. The die or the actor doesn't want to come back, whatever. Yeah, that's why you got to use it sparingly, honestly. If you're going to use it at all, use it sparingly. Make it feel special, which I feel like it's been used at its best in films like Spider-Man No Way Home, bringing back those villains and things I thought was cool, or even more recently in Deadpool Wolverine, which surprisingly was not like just a roasting of the Fox era, but was more of like, a little bit of roasting, but for the most of it, it was just kind of a goodbye, which is interesting. You gotta do it like that. Think of whom was a big, great green dragon. Which I don't think the dragon in the movie was green. I can't remember. I don't think it was Fing Fang Foom. I think they would have said if it was Fing Fang Foom or not. Fing Fang Foom was definitely that dragon? I don't think so. They would have called him Fing Fang Foom. There would have been a moment where it's like, what's the name of this beast? Fing Fang Foom. And they wait for the applause. I don't think they called him Fing Fang Foom. I enjoyed Shang-Chi and the Kaiju Dragon stuff as big as it, but it was a large tonal shift. Yeah, it just didn't work for me, but fair enough. Isaac, the X-Men came back, particularly when we needed them. Still can't believe they thought Eternals would be worth investing. That's the other thing. Eternals, man, what a wet fart of a movie. I think that's the weakest film, not only of Phase 4, because that was Phase 4, right? Phase 4, but just overall. I was like, what are we even doing? Can't see anything in the film. It's dark. It's too dark. Oh, it'd be fun to mix it up, have Spider-Man fight bulls. That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. I'd be up for it. Yeah, I love the idea of supervillains being shared by multiple superheroes. I think that's cool. I was saying for the longest time, if they ever did like a, well, they did a Black Panther 2. Not to say they can't do this, even though it would be really complicated now. I would love it if Kraven the Hunter was a main villain of a Black Panther movie. I think that would be awesome. I think that'd be so cool. Having him infiltrate Wakanda and try to like assassinate T'Challa or the royal family. I'd be like, oh my god, I would love that. But that happening is unlikely. The Inhumans now. Oh yeah, I get them confused all the time. Isaac, don't worry, you're good. You're good. I was like, I knew exactly what you were talking about. Cedar Spa, green salutation. Nobody living on, prospering. Good to see you. Just talking about some Sony Spiderman stories. Interesting. Good things been brought by the chat. Kimmy Nice says also screams Marvel playing it safe. Not because of director choice, but they're bringing in the same writers from the previous movies. Personally feel they need a new creative team for this new movie. I also wouldn't. I think you wouldn't have minded if the two Bad Boys directors, Adil Eli Arbi and Bilal Fallah, helmed this movie. I think like they were rumored to be helming like some sort of Marvel project. Maybe their names were thrown around for this one. Yeah, because I really like the Holland trilogy. Like, it has its flaws. There's some things like I didn't like this, I didn't like that. But overall, I really enjoyed those movies. And I really loved No Way Home. I thought it was great, despite some plot stuff that didn't work, some inconsistencies, let's say, with the rules they established. But the emotional stuff like really hit for me, really landed for me, and seeing those villains come back and actually used well was like, oh fuck, you did it. So I'm not against the writers coming back. I guess. Because there was some backlash towards the way in which they presented Holland's Spider-Man. I wasn't against it personally, where he was more tied to the greater MCU of it all, and he was, more tied to Iron Man and everything, and certain character. Like in each movie, he was tied to like a certain Marvel character. Like in the first Homecoming, it was Tony Stark, Iron Man, obviously. And the next one, it was Shield and Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. And then most recently, obviously, was Doctor Strange and No Way Home. I thought that was kind of cool, but they set it up in a way where, all right, well, now he's alone, right? And he's at probably the lowest point ever in his life. And so this could potentially be like a very, it could be, not saying it has to be, but it could be like a darker Spider-Man story, since he has no one. And so having him then deal with like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff or stuff on that street level, like the criminals and the kingpins of it all, and having him interact with Daredevil, who I feel like he needs a friend, more than ever. And I feel like Charlie Cox's Daredevil could be that. Maybe not the best friend, maybe not the friend he needs, but he needs a friend. Since Daredevil's a little fucked up himself. Like I think that's a really cool idea, and that's what I want, and maybe the writers could deliver that. But I can understand your point. You maybe want a different creative team in there, kind of pitch that idea, pitch that movie. What would that be like? So you bring up a good point. I'm not against it. Let's see here. I remember Fing Fang Foom, the Ultimate Alliance won because he's the first main boss you fight. Oh, he is, isn't he? Yeah. Let's see here. I personally would love a Shang-Chi and Iron Fist film, but we need some really good writers behind Iron Fist, people who understand the company. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, Iron Fist is such a again, not the fault of the character, but just the people that have been attached to him in adaptations recently. Kind of a really bad and mixed reputation, but he is a wonderful guy. I love when he's teamed up with Luke Cage in the comics. Heroes for Hire and all that great stuff. But yeah, I would like that too. I think that'd be neat. Let's see. Who else? Just scrolling. Who else is here? Yeah, Marvel bringing back all the Defenders, even Iron Fist. Well, I think you're going to get some of them. I think, you're obviously getting Daredevil and all his supporting characters. I think Kristen Ritter's coming back as Jessica Jones in some capacity for the new Daredevil series. I don't know if we'll... what's his name? To be honest, I'm not a big fan of Mike Coulter as an actor, and so if they've wanted to recast him, I'm like, go for it, But he initially was kind of negative, like, whatever. But then suddenly he's like, oh, I'd love to come back. And it's like, okay, you're probably coming back in some capacity. But Finn Jones, I don't think they're going to bring him back, sadly. I don't think it's the actor's fault. It just didn't work out very well. It's a horribly written show. Well, at least what I've seen of it. But yeah, I think they're going to bring back a lot of that Netflix Marvel stuff, as they should. They shouldn't abandon it. They shouldn't abandon the stuff that was working. And clearly they knew that. They realized that in the Daredevil production. They restarted, and hopefully it'll be really good. Because I love Daredevil. Yeah, they get the Dragon of the... I think I would have remembered if it was Fing Fing Foom. Let's see here. Seven the Celestials, I'm glad they're leaving Eternal stuff. Me too. I was just like, this is not working. Like, none of it. Like, I remember just watching, because I didn't see it in the theater. I saw that on Disney Plus or whatever. I did my spoiler review, and it was like, that movie was like 3 hours long. It's like, this movie does not need to be 3 goddamn hours long. You know? It's just conceptually, it's like, there's nothing about that was working. It was like, this isn't working. I just remember, it's like, these characters are goddamn dull. You know, the like how they function within the Marvel universe doesn't make any sense to me. You know, it's just you know, visually it was just so it's like I can't see anything in this. Everything's washed out. So much of it felt like I said this in my review from years ago. I said that this feels like a Marvel movie directed by Zack Snyder, except not as much slow motion. Obviously, it's just like there's no color. It's like, where's the goddamn color? What happened? Let's see here. They also directed the first and last episode. But that's right. Yeah, that's their connection. I'll be honest. I'd rather have Shang-Chi 2 than multiverse bullshit Spider-Man 4. I agree. I'm right there with you, Deadpool. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have a grounded Shang-Chi 2 than more multiverse Spider-Man. I like the multiverse Spider-Man, what they did. I just don't need more of it. It's like, hey, that was great. That was very special. Cool. If they want to do multiverse Spider-Man bullshit, then do the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie where they're on their own adventure. Like, go ahead and do that. I'm fine with that. But let's see Tom Holland's Spider-Man be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I think that'd be cool. Let's see here. Chris Harris says, it's funny how this is getting brought up as soon after us talking about Tim Burton, because I think him and Marvel suffer from a similar issue of how sometimes it's not such a good thing keeping work of the same people over and over again, because eventually you develop such a trust and shorthand that you stop pushing each other in ways that you need to be pushed, and the work can suffer as a result. Yeah, true. It's a good point. Will Black Cat be in it? I don't know. That'd be kind of cool, though. If they did a street-level movie, that would make sense. Gwen? I'm not sure. I mean, they could. All these. I think it would be kind of interesting if we talked about this before, if they, on past Carton Fartin sessions that we've had, that in this new era of Spider-Man movies where it's like, all right, like, yeah, eventually they'll fucking reunite with MJ and Ned and all that, but, like, maybe Peter starts friendships because of course he would, wouldn't he? Friendships of new people. Like he would meet Gwen, like the Gwen Stacy of this film universe, who maybe could be Spider-Gwen. I think that'd be kind of cool. And Harry Osborn or whoever else, or Miles Morales. And so when Tom Holland doesn't want to do it anymore, you can give the franchise to that new actor who'll be that Spider-Man. So, like, that's what I would do. But yeah, you can bring in Felicia Hardy. I mean, no overstuff the movie, of course, but lay down the groundwork, for future films. Yeah, why not? Why not? Iron Fist and Luke Cage team up was the only good episode in the Netflix show for the yeah. Isaac, hoping Spider-Man 4 is just a Petey and Silk rom-com. Now's the time. So what a weird character. I'm very unfamiliar with Silk, and I remember, what was it, Spider-Man 2? You guys were saying, like, Chris, wait until you see the ending of Spider-Man 2. Like, excuse me, the stinger. The stinger. And I saw it, and I was like, who? What? I was so confused. I was like, I don't know who this is. And you guys had to explain it to me. I was like, oh, well, didn't they canceled that Silk project, right? Weren't they going to do that Silk movie? It wouldn't be a rom-com, Isaac. It'd be like a sex comedy. It'd be like a rated R, nearly X-rated sex comedy. Oh, my Lord. Bugs! Never fully got the complaints to Tom Holland. He always felt intentionally inspired by the Ultimate Universe of his youth and legend. I really love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. For me, personally, in terms of the live-action performances, like a live-action Spider-Man, he's my favorite. He's my favorite. I think it's cool that you actually have someone that looks like they're a teenager. Because I do not think Tobey Maguire nor Andrew Garfield look like teenagers in their movies. They're like, you are a 20-plus, nearly 30-plus year old man acting like a teenager or trying to act like a teenager. And not to say that they didn't have their moments in those movies. They absolutely did. Of course. But Holland, whatever they were feeding him, they kept him young, where I bought him as a between the ages of 16 to 18-year-old Peter Parker. I was like, yep, he looks it. Even still to this day, he still looks pretty goddamn young. So yeah. I never got the complaints either. I like that they changed it up a little bit with him being so connected to Tony Stark and the Avengers of it. I think that was cool. I was like, yeah, this is neat. Maybe some people don't like this. I understand they like standalone Spider-Man being by himself, but it gave me kind of those Brian Michael Bendis Spider-Man stories where he was with the Avengers a lot. He was one of the founding members of the new Avengers, and I thought that was cool. Yeah, Jessica Jones is coming back. Yeah, they've already confirmed she's back. And they actually go to a bunch of different locations as opposed to most Snyder movies. Which one? Oh, Eternals. Where did they go? Where did they go? They go to the beach. I think they go to the beach, and they go to the little cult compound in South America. And I think there's someplace cold. Yeah. Yeah. They're doing a Silk. So is that happening? I thought that got canceled. Wow, they're doing the Silk movie. Holy shit. Chris is a fake nerd. I was like, I don't know who this character is. That's you know someone's like extra nerd. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. Oh man. Let's see. It'd be fun if the Maguire was 27. That's right. He was 27 years old when he made that first Spider-Man movie. And he looks 27. Spider-Man can't stop trying to bane Silk. I know, it's what's connected to it. He doesn't know why. Give Peter some joy. Charles, they shot in London, the desert, the side of a real volcano, some spots in the Midwest. Most Snyder stuff is shot on sound. That's true. It is shot on sound stages. You're not wrong. Fraud. I'm a fraud. Lies. Deception. Hamilton Burger, welcome. We're just talking Spider-Man. I feel like we talked about it well. I thought we'd have a thorough conversation. So, yeah, just to wrap up the Spider-Man section of the stream. Listen, I'm hoping for the best for Beyond the Spider-Verse. I believe Chris Miller, what he's saying, and that Jeff Snyder was incorrect. I do believe him. Not Jeff Snyder, excuse me. I believe Chris Miller. And I think that, when the movie comes out, I'm hoping it's great. But I'm still very concerned with Phil Lord and Chris Miller leaving, and the Sony of it all, the Tom Rothmans, the Avi Arads, Amy Pascal's coming in there and just railroading those movies and having them fit those films fit their visions, which their visions are shit. So that's what I'm concerned about. And the same thing for Spider-Man 4. Like, I hope it's good. Destin. I'm gonna say his name without looking at it. Destin Daniel Cretton. Did I get it right? Destin Daniel Cretton? I think I got it. I got at least 2/3 of it. I definitely got the Destin part and the Cretton part. I don't know about the middle. I got it. Fuck yeah. I'm hoping that this film, Spider-Man 4, whatever they're going to call it, is going to be more like Shang-Chi, the first half of Shang-Chi, and less like the second half. And based on what you guys have been telling me, saying that was more mandated by the powers that be at Marvel, that they have that big gobbledygook mumbo-jumbo, world, that was more them and less him. Then I'm like, okay. So I'm hoping that, and I hope that he gets to do a more grounded Spider-Man film. But my fear is they're going to do a multiverse, which is what Sony wants. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping the best. You guys know I love Spider-Man. And I want Spider-Man to be treated well. And I just have concerns of some of the people that have a fucking chokehold on it. They're just constantly putting pressure on the windpipe. And you have some creative people that are able to lessen that chokehold. But I feel like if those people are gone, we're gonna morb. We're gonna morb again. I don't want to morb again, Chad. I'm tired of morbing. I got to morb one last time this year with Kraven the Hunter, and I don't want to do it. And no, Venom. Fuck, I got to morb twice. So it's even more than I want to. I got to morb twice, Chad, because Venom comes out next month. That's what it is. That's the October movie. I couldn't remember. Venom is next month, and then December is Kraven. So I'm concerned. Hey, Sony's still in my mind. Oh, and thank you. Who came in there at the follow? Galaxy Gas Puffer. That's a good name. Galaxy Gas Puffer, thank you for the follow. Excuse me. I'm choking on that gas. Thank you so much. You're my new Huckleberry. Hope you're doing very well. Just talking Spider-Man, talking news. We'll see. Hopefully Kraven... Listen, I hope Kraven's good. I would love for Kraven to be good, But I don't think it will be. My expectations are not high for Kraven. They're pretty low. They're subterranean. They're underneath the fucking ground. But we'll find out. And then that Aunt May movie. If I get that Aunt May spy movie. Morbid all over the place. Yeah. Thank you for your service. I will not be morbid. I don't want to be. Oh, Chris Ayers like, who won't be his lost cause? Yeah, I think it is too. I think it's a lost cause. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. I'll see it. I'll watch it. I'll review it.